Hello. Shukran. And we're here. First impressions?
Better than the photos.
And where is it that we're at?
We're in Petra.
Can't slow this man down. We got shawarma on the mind. Welcome to Adiram!
The mud is all over my hands and all the body.
We've got some snacks just before dinner.
We're doing a little double shawarma.
It's called shawarmatizer.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Global Village. I'm your host, Buddy Kunana. Now, this show is the only program on Philippine television that focuses on international affairs, issues, and culture. And it also highlights the connectivity of Filipinos to the rest of the world. And you know, folks, tonight is a very special show because our guest tonight is a good friend of mine, and he is the consul, honorary consul of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan here in the Philippines, no other than Mr. Michael Ang. Good evening, Mike, and welcome to, finally, Global Village.
Good evening, buddy. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, it's really a pleasure to have you here because I know you're a very busy guy, and I finally corralled you to come and talk about your wonderful country. And you know, it's Jordan's an amazing place,
Yes, it
amazing
is.
country, amazing leadership, wonderful tourist attractions, and as the viewers have shown from the nice video that we've just shown before we came on,
Yes.
so much to look forward to in your country.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Now, okay, to kick this off, let's talk about you, Mike. Tell us a bit about who is Honorary Consul Michael Ang.
Okay, let's see. I was born here in the Philippines. Okay, Filipino citizen, of course, by birth and by blood, and I studied in the U.S. for middle school, high school, and college. And then after which, I came back to the Philippines to join my family's group of businesses. And back in 2000, end of 2002, I was actually suggested to become the replacement for my father, who was the previous honorary consul of Jordan. And then in 2005, I received my appointment papers from the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, appointing me as the new honorary consul general of Jordan here in the Philippines.
Okay, so I also have to congratulate you because I understand that you are the Vice Dean, the current Vice Dean of the Consular Corps of the Philippines, which is a very prestigious, very old organization composed of all career and honorary consuls in the country.
Yes,
So
thank you.
congratulations on that appointment.
Thank you very much.
Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks.
I'm still surprised that it happened, but nevertheless, I'm really eager to do my part in terms of helping to facilitate the further growth and professionalization of the Consular Corps of the Philippines.
Excellent. Okay, Mike, before we jump into Jordan, quickly, for the people watching now who are hearing this term honorary consul, what is an honorary consul and how does that differ from a career consul?
Well, in terms of the differences between a career consul and honorary consul, there really isn't much, except for the fact that in the provisions of the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, they actually provide for the appointment of an honorary consul in situations where a particular country has existing relations or wants to develop a relationship with a specific host country, and they do not have either the economic means or have it in their short-term agenda to place a full-term consul, much less to establish a full consulate in a particular country with whom they have relations. So in my particular case, I perform a lot of the functions that a normal consul performs, attending to my nationals, attending to the promotion of the Kingdom of Jordan in terms of explaining to Filipino travelers and businessmen what can be had with either going to Jordan or setting up a business or setting up a business relation with the Kingdom of Jordan.
I guess the biggest difference is that in this capacity, this is really a pro bono job. As I understand, the honorary consuls are not paid for their service.
Correct.
So it really is.
So it's a lot of out-of-pocket expense.
But,
for the honorary consul.
But a lot of satisfaction as well.
Oh, definitely.
Because
definitely.
it's a very prestigious position.
Right, and you cannot really put monetary value to that. I mean, because when you help somebody out, let's say in a worst-case scenario, a Jordanian for some reason ends up in jail or ends up in the hospital, and you attend to that person, and then the gratitude that you hear from their family or from the Jordanian himself or herself that you were able to assist and help facilitate their need in an urgent situation, you cannot put a monetary value to that.
Very good. And congratulations on a job well done. I understand the Jordanian community is in good hands with Consul Michael Ang at the helm.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's jump into Jordan now. Tell us a bit about your country briefly. Describe Jordan. I'll jump into it first by saying, why is it called the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan?
The Kingdom of Jordan is called the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan because the word Hashemite refers to the Hashem family, which is the ruling family in the Kingdom of Jordan. So His Majesty King Abdullah, all of their ancestors are from the house of Hashem, who are direct descendants of the Prophet Muhammad.
Wow. They can actually trace their lineage to the Prophet Muhammad.
Yes, they do.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So henceforth that's the name, Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. Describe the country.
Well, it's a predominantly desert country, but there is a very small coastline. So we have a natural coastline along the Gulf of Aqaba, which goes into the Red Sea. So we're not completely landlocked. But aside from that, I mean, we do have a lot of variations in terms of the environment and the terrain, despite the fact that it's predominantly arid. So, for outdoor enthusiasts, there are a lot of things to do and to see, depending on your tastes.
How big is the country in its population? It's not a big country, no?
No, it's not. In terms of population,
or land area-wise.
In terms of population, we are about a little bit over 8 million. But the majority of these are refugees who came in from other countries, like the state of Palestine, from Iraq, from Syria. So.
And I understand that in this sense, Jordan has a very beautiful policy, really, of welcoming its neighbors, citizens of its neighbors who have perhaps undergone chaos and have been displaced.
Correct.
And it really opens with open arms, welcomes these people to the country.
Yes. Yeah, that's always been a tradition for the Hashemite family, to be as open and humanitarian as possible when it comes to the needs of its neighbors. Back during the time of His late Majesty King Hussein, he allowed more than 3 million Palestinians to enter the kingdom, and a lot of them actually stayed and settled in the kingdom, and were subsequently issued Jordanian passports, or in some cases became Jordanian citizens. And more recently, of course, we have about 1 million Syrian refugees now in two refugee camps in northern Jordan, just outside of Irbid, one of the northern towns.
Yeah. I mean, that's an amazing thing that refugees to your country can actually enjoy a lot of benefits that citizens do have. Like example, you mentioned the passports.
Yes.
And I can think of no other country that actually gives passports to refugees, its own passports. Huh? And this is a policy of the Jordanian government.
It is, but it's part of its humanitarian efforts as well. I mean, because how can you assist these people and allow them to enter your country, or in this case, the Kingdom of Jordan, without allowing them the continued freedom to travel? In this particular case, how can you expect them to travel and maintain their normalcy as citizens of the world if they don't have travel documents? You know, so that's part of the humanitarian effort of the Kingdom of Jordan to actually issue or provide travel documents to these people.
How long has this policy been the policy of the government? Has it been, since the time of King Hussein? Or?
I'm not sure exactly when, and I have to apologize for that, but I definitely know it's been happening before my time and even before my father's time as honorary consul.
No, because it really points to a very enlightened leadership, very
Yes.
responsive leadership, very
Yes.
humane leadership on the part of of Jordan's ruling family,
Yes.
right? Of the royal family. And let's talk about them. So Jordan is a constitutional monarchy.
Correct.
You have a king who is the head of state and also the head of government,
Yes.
right? And you have a parliament and with elected MPs.
Yes.
What is the relationship between, let's say, the king and parliament?
Well, just like in any other parliamentary style of government, the members of parliament are elected by the people. It's an open election. But I have to say one thing though. His Majesty King Abdullah, when after he became king, he actually put into place a mechanism where specific seats in parliament are reserved for women.
Wow, really?
Unfortunately,
so there's a quota.
Yes, there's a
Bravo.
quota. Unfortunately,
Bravo.
up to now, it has not been met. But still, it's a stepping stone into creating a more holistic representational type of government through its parliamentary system.
It must be one of the first in the Arab world to if not the first, one of the first to
Yes.
do something like this, no?
Yes, it was one of the first. And again, it shows how proactive and wide-ranging His Majesty King Abdullah's views are in terms of encompassing or engaging his people.
Well, it also goes back, I think, to the background of the royal family. Let's say King Abdullah. I understand he's very let's say Western-oriented because
Yes.
he's been schooled in the UK, in America, and all that.
Yes.
And tell us a bit about them. I mean, is the royal family there? Are they modern royals? What are they like?
Well, I would definitely consider them as modern royals, but they're very low-key. Like, for example, in terms of my own personal experience, His Royal Highness Prince Ali, one of the younger brothers of His Majesty King Abdullah, has been to the Philippines on at least 2 official occasions, representing FIFA as one of the vice presidents of FIFA, specifically in charge of Asia. Now, the prince is very low-key, as I mentioned. He doesn't like the full fanfare, despite the fact that he's entitled to it. He prefers to just come here and to be as normal as possible.
Yes. And I think even his father,
Yes.
the late King Hussein,
Yes.
was also very much revered in that way. But he didn't seem like this typical Arab monarch.
Oh, definitely
very,
not. Definitely
very
not.
modern, very
Right, and it's something that's really been
in touch
passed
with the
on.
times.
Right, it's something that's been passed on to the eldest son, which is His Majesty King Abdullah, and the rest of the family members, even the late King Hussein's siblings, who are still present. It's something that they've always emphasized on. The simplicity in life, simplicity in how they conduct themselves. Because at the end of the day, it's a reflection of how much importance they put on the people, on the normal people, so that they can better relate to the needs and concerns of the Jordanian people.
I'm glad you mentioned that aspect of taking care of the people, because I've noticed that when you look at the Arab world, and a lot of countries are being rocked by
Yes.
Islamic radicals
Yes.
and militancy, But if you look at countries like Jordan or Morocco that have royal families and royal families that are responsive to the needs of people,
Yes.
I don't see it taking hold that much or that strongly. This
Yes.
Islamic militancy
Right.
in these countries. Would you say that it's probably due to the way that the country is being managed by these families?
Well, in terms of my own personal views, that has a lot to do with it. When you have a leadership that is in touch with the people, that reacts almost immediately, because there will still be a lag
Sure.
in terms of their reaction time. But with the past several years, in terms of how His Majesty and the rest of the royal family have reacted and taken action with regard to preventing these militants from taking hold of the kingdom, or even doing their nefarious activities within the kingdom. They try, as I said earlier, try to maintain as close contact with the people so they can react accordingly and in an appropriate time, which is pretty fast.
Yes. Yeah.
In recent times, His Majesty King Abdullah has even changed the entire cabinet. I remember a few years back, there was a delegation, a labor delegation, coming to the Philippines from the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan to continue the discussions on updating the labor relations agreement between the Philippines and the Kingdom of Jordan. And midway to the Philippines, the head of the delegation said, "I'm sorry, I have to turn around and go back to Jordan because I am no longer the head of the mission." But that only speaks well of the king in terms of how well he listens to the people, and how
serious
he
perhaps.
observes,
Yeah.
and how serious he is in
Yeah.
terms of his actions. When he says he wants something done, he will get something done.
Well, I have to say I'm a big fan of King Abdullah, and I'll tell you why. There was a case of that Jordanian pilot, unfortunate
Yes.
case, that he was captured by
Yes.
ISIS, and they actually executed him.
Yes.
But in response, King Abdullah actually led a squadron of fighter bombers,
Yes.
and actually attacked these ISIS positions.
Correct,
And I
correct.
understand it's because of his military background. He's
Yes.
a graduate of Sandhurst
Yes.
in the UK, that very prestigious military academy that trains the best and the finest British officers.
Yes.
And so he is kind of like a warrior king.
Oh, yeah.
In that sense. Imagine flying his own fighter bomber,
Right.
and actually going to war.
Oh yeah.
Not in the rear with the gear,
Yes.
but up front, where the kings traditionally
Of course.
were at.
Of course. Because at the end of the day, the king also sees himself as a servant to the people. If he doesn't listen to the people, if he doesn't take action, then how good of a king can he be? And how well can he help facilitate the continued improvement and growth of the kingdom and its people, if he doesn't take those types of action in showing that he's not just serious, showing it by way of what he says, but also by the way he acts.
Yes, and they say behind every great man is a great woman, no?
Yes.
And I think that your country has also been very fortunate to have very able and very good queens
Yes.
to stand by their kings. Now, before with King Hussein, the late King Hussein, it was Queen Noor,
Yes.
who is the former Lisa Halaby,
Yes.
from an American, half Arab, but she was she was very respected and very much loved. And I understand now Queen Rania
Correct.
is the wife of King Abdullah is also similarly very respected and a very accomplished woman in her
yes,
own right.
Yes, and she's actually one of the most sought-after speakers in the world right now. Not just because of her beauty, but also because of her intelligence. She's a very popular speaker.
Okay. Quickly, let's talk about the Jordanians here in the Philippines. How many citizens do you have in your care?
Well, officially, my numbers, according to the Bureau of Immigration, is at around 300 to 350 Jordanians. But if you also consider other nationalities carrying Jordanian passports, or specifically Palestinians carrying Jordanian passports, the number jumps up to close to 1,000.
Oh, okay.
But it's still a relatively small number compared to the number of Jordanians who were living and studying here in the Philippines back in the 70s and 80s, which was around 10,000 Jordanians.
Oh, wow. How come there were so many Jordanians back then? What was the attraction of coming to the Philippines?
Well, in terms of my analysis of that period and the reason for their travel or their having to move to the Philippines for study was because of the insufficiency of higher institutions for learning in Jordan. At that period in history, Jordan was still creating or establishing additional colleges and universities around the kingdom, but now we have several to choose from.
Yeah, so it's developed already over the years, and
Yes.
they've developed their own institutions
Correct,
for higher learning. Now, okay, that's a very interesting point.
We've actually even had members of parliament in Jordan who graduated from Philippine universities
Well,
like
that's an
CEU, FEU, not Adamson, but I think a couple of universities in Baguio as well.
But Mike, that's an incredible resource to have. If you have all these graduates from Philippine universities,
Yes.
now you know, that's the 70s. So now
Yes.
they're probably very prominent already in their
Yes.
own in their own country and very established. You know,
Yes.
that's an incredible network to have.
It is, but it's also a big advantage in terms of their having grown up part of their lives anyway, their adolescent lives, well, actually post-adolescent, but their young adult life in the Philippines, because it gives them a different perspective on the Philippine-Jordan relations.
Yeah.
Which brings me to a story actually about His Majesty King Abdullah, because he himself grew up with a Filipina in the household, not as a household service
Domestic,
worker,
yeah.
not that.
Yeah.
But actually, the late Queen Alia, the mother of His Royal Highness Prince Ali, her best friend, who became her executive assistant when she was queen, was Filipina, was her best friend from New York.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So the ties are really there, no?
Yes.
Wow. Amazing. Is there a Philippine-Jordanian Business Council? Are you involved in that?
Unfortunately, no. But there is a Philippine-Jordan Friendship Association.
Yes. And is it active?
Not really that active, but it's something that I'm hoping in the next few months, if not the next year, that we can help to grow.
Definitely, and you know, with social media, and like, you know, it's so easy to track down people who were, you know, if you just create a Facebook page,
Yes.
Jordanians graduating from FEU or whatever,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
it's so easy now to get people together. I think it would be an excellent idea to form this network, and you know, as you know, it's being consul for a long time.
Of course.
That this is how you get real exchanges, meaningful exchanges between
Yes,
peoples,
yes.
no? Getting them together.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
what it's about.
And it's part of the world getting smaller.
Absolutely. Okay, Mike, we have to pause for a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about tourism in Jordan.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about, finally, we're going to talk about Philippine-Jordan relations and where it's going and what
Okay.
your big plans are for 2017, 2018.
Okay.
So guys, more of Jordan when Global Village returns.